Welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. We are going to roll right into tight end, a very important position, again, especially if you're in a PPR league. And we're here to help you out with this one because there's only a couple top guys in the tight end position. So you're going to have to kind of reach and grab these points from guys that are a little bit more sleepers.
Yeah. Graham is going to go in the first round or the second round in every single draft.
Oh, yeah. And there's only, like I said, maybe 3 top ones. Elites that are really out there that are going to do a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and start this right off. My first tight end to watch for who's a sleeper, you can definitely get him in the later rounds, is tight end Jordan Reed of the Redskins. Now, he played 9 games last season, and he only started 4, but that was due to injury. But even in those games, he had 45 receptions for 499 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he didn't totally blow it out, but those aren't bad stats for the number of games that he played. Gruden obviously likes to pass the ball, so that's a great thing. And their offensive coordinator, McVay, loves him. They have already stated that he's going to be a big part of the offense. So that's something that if they're already saying it now in preseason, I think they're going to follow through with that. And RG3 is definitely looking Reed's way. I saw him looking that way last night in the Browns-Redskins game. He says that he runs really great routes, and he's very difficult to cover. Another good thing is tight ends are always good for quarterbacks if they're scrambling as a bailout option. And I saw RG3 scramble a little more than I think Redskins fans want to see last night.
I think you saw on my Facebook page, I already the boy was limping already. He's limping in preseason. That's why I'm like, hey, Kirk Cousins, automatic quarterback sleeper.
So if he has to dump it off, Reed will be there. But, yeah, he's supposed to be a big part of their offense. So go ahead and get him in your later rounds.
Oh, Reed's a stud. If he's available, you have to take him. Especially what happened in the draft we were recently in. All of a sudden, there's a run on tight ends.
Oh, yeah.
And
they start just going.
Somebody will start getting excited. And we talk about this on our podcast and strategies. If there's a run, and you're worried about the wraparound not coming back to you, sometimes you got to take them.
Got to pull the trigger.
Yeah. Now, one person I had to pull the trigger on in the 2/3 of the way down in my work draft was Zach Ertz, who I am super crazy about on the Eagles. He balled out against the Bears, unfortunately, in Week 1, and he's going to be the person lined up on the other side of Selleck. And I know we were just talking about this. Concern is, Selleck's going to get a lot of the balls. In preseason, Ertz has gotten a lot of the balls, and Selleck has been out there. You're dealing with Chip Kelly, who runs these very exotic offenses. So he's going to get some play. He's going to get some balls. Foles loves him, of course. Went 2 for 26 and a touchdown against the Patriots this last weekend in, that crazy-ass game. Last season, he went 469 yards and got 4 touchdowns late in the season on a run. So, they're just going to use him. Nick Foles is quoted as saying he looks at him as the next Gronkowski.
Ooh,
I just had to share that.
Big shoes to fill there.
Well, especially because Foles played with Gronkowski in college. So, of course he's on his team and he's going to tout him. But, he's seeing some flashes, and I think Ertz is going to be big.
It's a good one. My next one is Kyle Rudolph of the Vikings. He's a guy you can definitely get late. He's not even going in some drafts, which is definitely confusing me. So I had to bring him up on this show. He is in the Norv Turner offensive system over there at offensive coordinator. And Norv loves to use tight ends. Just look at what he did in San Diego with Antonio Gates. So it's going to be a tight end happy offense over there. It seems like Castle and him already have chemistry. He went 4 of 5 for 89 yards and a touchdown. So that's not bad at all in the second preseason game. And they don't have a lot of wide receivers over there either. They're kind of a team that's confused in that realm. They have Jennings, and then they have Cordarrelle Patterson, who Cordarrelle's supposed to have a pretty breakout year as well. But they don't have a ton of wide receivers to go around. So Rudolph's going to be seeing a lot of targets. And this division, since we're in it, is going to be putting up points. Green Bay's offense is going to put up points. The Bears' offense is going to put up points, and the Lions are going to put up points. So the Vikings are going to have to struggle in all the division games to keep up and put some points on the board. And I think Rudolph is going to help with that. And the defenses of this division haven't shown to be all that great. I know the Lions secondary is bad. We already talked about our Bears. Green Bay's defense isn't all that great either. So it's looking like this the division games might be high scoring. So.
Fantasy gold is what that's called. Usually
10 touchdowns a game.
We talk about interdivision games being toughies, and it might be a change this season because we might see some big scoring games. Fantasy wise, it's good. Unfortunately, I don't want to see our Bears get any shootouts, especially against the damn Lions, for crying out loud. Speaking of Antonio Gates, my tight end. My next one is Ladarius Green of the Chargers, who we all know that Antonio's getting long in the tooth. It's no big secret. So they brought this kid in, and he's developing. He's developing really well. He's 6'6", 240 pounds, and just runs like a beast. I mean, they call him a physical specimen. This guy might be, you can never replace Antonio Gates. He was a unique player. He used to be a basketball player, had a unique style playing, but they're trying to call him the next one.
Yeah, well, he's old and super injury prone. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Greens.
Yeah. He in the preseason opener, he caught 2 passes for 26 yards. One of them a huge 20-yard catch over the middle. He lined up in some of the same packages. So a lot of these teams are going with 2 tight end sets now. So Antonio is going to get double teamed, even though he has his age, but he has his reputation, and they're going to dump it off to Green. Keenan Allen is about the only other person besides Gates to throw to. Just like you were talking about on the Vikings, there's just a shortage of players to pass to. Keenan Allen just finally came into his own last season. You don't really have Eddie Royal. Is always, Yeah,
not elite.
No,
not super elite
guys. He's going to go on another 2 to 3 game streak and become a one-hit blunder for Prost on his segment. But that's about it. So, I like him a lot. I think he's going to be the next heir apparent tight end, hopefully, there in San Diego.
Yeah, he's been going in every draft that I've seen so far, even some of the mock drafts I've done. So, my last guy is tight end Delanie Walker. Now, he's a guy that hasn't even been going in drafts. Again, definitely one you can get way down there if you haven't drafted a tight end and you just absolutely need one for your roster. But new head coach Wisenhunt over there, again, likes to use tight ends. And he actually compared him to Antonio Gates because obviously Wisenhunt came from the Chargers and worked with Gates. He had his best year last year with 60 receptions for 571 yards and 6 touchdowns. So that was a really breakout year for him in being with the Titans. And, Locker's another quarterback that can be iffy. Another good thing is that, like I said, was stating before, if he's scrambling, if he can't get it down the field very well, the secondary's covering, he can dump it off to the tight end. So it's kind of like his security blanket. Yeah. I know they have Kendall Wright and Justin Hunter that are performing pretty good so far, but he's definitely expected to be a guy that gets a lot of balls thrown his way while the Titans try to move their offense and kind of get that to put together a little more under new head coach Wisenhunt.
Well, and the backup quarterback might need help there because we all know Mr. Locker's proneness to...
That's part of the iffy.
Lowering your shoulder, Jake, is all fine and dandy, but you need to help. You need it to help you throw. So
he's like Cutler; he just can't stay healthy an entire season. So
they're physical quarterbacks, man. They like to get out of the pocket and run like idiots down the field, and whatever. Anyway.
So that wraps up our show for tonight.
Yes.
Go back and check out our running back and quarterback sleepers that we did last week because I know a lot of you haven't had your drafts at all. So you definitely need to get that info as well.
Yeah, go to our YouTube channel. Just type in Big Balls Fantasy Football. We're the only Big Balls Fantasy Football on YouTube or youtube.com/BigBallsFootball. Go to BigBallsFantasyFootball.com and you can watch previous shows from last season. See if you've never watched us before, you can read our cast bios and see what we're all about.
Absolutely. And then, of course, like us on Facebook, spread the word, facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball. And tweet us, check out our Twitter @BigBallsFBall. Don't forget, if you do go to our YouTube, to hit the subscribe button. That way you'll automatically see all of our new shows pop up.
Yep, you'll know when they're coming. All right. Next week, we are, of course going to have what's going to be a very low-key show, but we'll try and keep it upbeat. Defenses and kickers. Are we just going to like bring a big twister spinner and just put the names of the kickers and just spin it around? And...
Maybe we should. That's the one sheet that for our draft I didn't even have. Like I had to like look at someone else and like, just give me a kicker. But
listen to our show at blogtalkradio.com/GRR or type in Big Balls Fantasy Football on iTunes, because Prost, who's our resident Packer fan, him and Cash talked about a lot of strategies last week on the podcast. And one of them was old school drafting versus new school drafting. And we definitely did some new school drafting in our work league.
Oh, yeah. So good luck on your drafts if you're having them before we see you again on the show. And we are done for this evening.
Good luck.